Now, one of the most requested videos I get on this channel is Rhyme, show us your full collection. And to do that, actually, it might take a long time. But what I can show you is my favorite stuff. And you know, it's the good stuff when you gotta go in one of these things for extra protection. So, how about we start there? If you know me, you've probably seen some of these cards before, scattered throughout the channels. I've done like top 10, top 20, stuff like that. But I've never done like my best of the best. So that's exactly what we're gonna show off here. And I will open these one at a time, starting with this one. I have two little ones, and I got the big one you saw in the beginning of the video. So here we go. Woo! But for starters, I want to point out, these are my favorites. You're going to see a mix of cards that are not exactly valuable to some people, but they're still my favorites, which is why they go inside these things. Okay, so this is some Yu-Gi-Oh slabs. So we'll start here. Should I put them face down? Put them face down. Boom. Oop, 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 oop. I see a Pokemon slab too on top, and y'all probably recognize this too. Let's start there. For whatever you want to call it, informational purposes, I'm not gonna put the prices up on screen, only because number one, I'm not a big fan of doing that. I don't like doing prices as the main focus and focal point of collections. But I might mention like recent data, so we'll just start there. Because the thing is, like, if I post the price, number one, I don't want it to be number one focus, and two, prices change. You know, what something sells for today might sell for less tomorrow or higher tomorrow. So never forget when I pulled my Lugia, not this one, but you know, the Neo Genesis Lugia. In that same video, it says it's a $1,000 PSA 10 card. It's not $1,000 anymore. All right, so let's go ahead and start. I'm gonna tell you a story every single one, because every single card here has a story, which is the best part about collectibles. So first, you guys already know what this is. The first appearance Lugia. Look at that. So when I was opening these packs back like 2-3 years ago now, it's been some time, oh my gosh. One of my biggest chases at the time was this Lugia, because this card looks absolutely gorgeous. And ZNG Emporium had messaged me and said, hey, I bought someone's collection. I saw this sitting in there, and I grabbed it for you because I know you were looking for it. I paid $700. I'll sell it to you for $700. I'm like, yes, done deal. Take it. I'll do it. And I literally had him send it in to get graded for me as well. And then I sent it to PSA. And I didn't like how PSA graded it, so I just cracked it down and sent it to BGS instead. And we got the 8.5 on that. What's funny is this card actually got lost too. I sent this to BGS for Express, and deadass, they had it for 3 months. Express, for context, is supposed to take like 5 days. They literally lost it, which is insane. Love that card. Next, we got, what is this? Oh, Dark Magician Girl Ghost Rare. I always said whenever Dark Magician Girl gets a Ghost Rare, this would be like one of the coolest modern cards for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I remember, the thing about Ghost Rares is you can't really see it here because this is a good copy. They all had this like weird smudging on the back because the printer was just absolutely awful. And I remember I bought 3 copies from my homie Tyree, who helped me find really good and clean copies. And all 3 graded at 10. At this point, I had already graded this card like 5 times. I had pulled it like 3 times, and I bought like 2 more copies. They always graded like 8s and 7s and 9s. Those 3 all came back as 10s. I have both of them, and I gave the 3rd one as a gift to Tyree. But like, I absolutely love this card. I wish they would have brought back the old Ghost Rare print. But again, this card is so sick. I mean, it's Dark Magician Girl. Iconic card. All right, next we have, oh, Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. As you can tell, I'm a big fan of Dark Magician Girl. I bought this from Ruxin for $700 a couple of years ago, and it's one of those things that's like just done this. It's like Dark Magician Girl, either she's going down, she's going up. Like, it's just, the prices just be like crazy sometimes. But this is the original version of this card in 1st edition. And what I love about this card, and this is what made me immediately want this, is only she and her armor basically is holographic. It's got the secret rare print. Everything else is not, which is kind of like a unique thing for Yu-Gi-Oh! They've never really done that before. Maybe like a couple times. But this card is sick. I absolutely love this card. And look at her. Look at her just being a queen, a warrior, magic and stuff. I love this card. Again, you're going to get a lot of cards in here that are probably not worth crazy numbers. I would say the Ghost Rare probably is like $1,000 as a PSA 10, which I know sounds crazy. It's like $1,000 is a lot of money. I know, but I'm saying like compared to the stuff you'll see later in the video. Same thing with the Dark Magician Girl Dragon Knight. I would probably value it somewhere around 1,000 plus. Because the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! That people don't ever talk about is everything is super low pop. I don't know what the actual pop is. You can look up yourself. But these cards are always like not many 10s. For comparison, if you look at like the Moonbryon, that card is like a pop 19,000 as a PSA 10. 19,000 10s exist. Probably even higher at this point. And then you have cards like this where the pop is like 50 or something like that. So only 50 of these exist in the world. And or those 50, maybe even less, because you never know if someone's got destroyed or something, or natural disasters and stuff like that. A low pop to me is always an important thing that no one really discusses anymore. All right, next we got, the Blue Ice White Dragon first edition PSA 10. For a while, this is a pop 4 because it's the Asian English version, as you can see. It's got a English front, but it's got the OCG logo on the back. And I remember when I bought this, when I was buying Blue Ice back in 2017, I bought this for like $70, I want to say. No, maybe even less. And this one was so clean, it immediately graded to 10. And for a while, this is like a pop 4, pop 5, something in the single digits. It's probably like a double digits thing now, maybe like 15 or something like that. But honestly, Asian English cards are super low pop because they printed so little to begin with. So honestly, this is more rare than the first edition LOB English Blue Eyes because way less have been printed. But I mean, people always gonna prefer the other one more because it's the fully English card. And the OCG logo is going to throw off collectors. But I absolutely love this card. Look at this. It's so sick. Such good quality. Because the OCG card stock was just way better. As far as what the value is, I wouldn't know. I think we just saw a first edition LB Blue Eye sell for $32,000 from what Ruxin said. So I would say maybe half of that or something. I don't know. I would not evaluate it. Like I said, the thing is like, even though this is more rare, people want the other one more. That makes sense. I don't know. Maybe someone else can give me insight on that, but I don't know. Next, we got the LOB first edition English one. As you can see, this has the English logo. Look at that old card stock. Look at that old card stock. And I also had this for a long time. Every card you're going to see here, for the most part, I graded myself. Yeah, this is sick. I was never the biggest fan of this Blue Eye specifically. When I came back to Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2017, I bought all the starter Kaiba ones, which you'll see come up soon. And I was like, let me get an LOB 1 or 2. So I got like a couple of these, and then I got that one. That one hit a 10. That was good enough for me. I didn't really care to pursue it anymore. But then I did get this 9 that I still have to this day. Again, this card in a 10 sold for like 30 grand. So I wouldn't know what the 9 is. Maybe 4, 5, 6, something like that in that neighborhood. Next we have the 10,000 Dragon. I pulled this in my box battle against Ruxin. What's cool about this, if you grow with Yu-Gi-Oh, this is a Chaos Emperor Dragon as a retrain in modern Yu-Gi-Oh. And what's cool about this, as you can see, it's got a 10,000 stamp, and then the code on the bottom left is 10,000. This is the 10,000 printed card in Yu-Gi-Oh. And this is when Starlots were hard to pull. It even got the red name. It was like 1 per like 4 cases or 3 cases, and they had 2 in the set. They had this in the Utopia, so pulling this was not exactly easy. And I did it in a video against Ruxin, so that was super hype. So love this card. Not the biggest fan of the card itself, but the moment and the memory is what's special to me, which is why it's in my special case. Next, we got the Dark Paladin corrected art. Now, this is something that's funny. So, I kind of have a bit of trader's regret on this, but not really at the same time. So, I traded a Gold Star Mew PSA 10 for this. The reason why I gave that Mew up, and the trader knew, by the way, because he didn't care, because the slab said 10. My card was damaged. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I dropped it or something, but the corner of that Mew had this like ding. I don't know if I dropped it hard and maybe like it bumped against the case. I have no clue. It was not graded like that, and it wasn't there when I graded it. But when I noticed that, I was like, I don't want this card anymore. This is gross. And at the time, I think the card was worth like 4 grand for a PSA 10, and this was valued around $5,000 to $6,000. And my homie was like, yeah, I'll take it. And I sent him the card. I'm like, I want you to look at this first and look at that corner because it's not a 10. And he was like, I don't care. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll send it to the Dark Paladin. So I'm like, all right, cool. That Mew now is like 15 grand, which is kind of sickening. But to be fair, I also don't consider that a 10 either. So I wouldn't consider it. Even though it says 10 on the slab, it wasn't a 10. It was maybe like an 8 because of how that ding was. But the story of this is when this card was released originally, they printed the wrong art. And they told anybody who pulled that to send it to Konami and they will send you the real one, which is this one, the corrected art. The pop in this is insanely low. This is considered the most rarest you can get of Dark Paladin, period. And do I have the card next to me? Oh no, it's in the other slab. In the other case. This is considered like the rarest version of this card ever. And if you grew up with OG Yu-Gi-Oh, this guy was like the king. Like he's so cool. Like look at him, man. He negated spells if you discard. This is dope. Not amongst my favorites. Again, kind of missed the Gold Star Mew, but it is what it is. I can't control the damage. I know it even hurts to hear that the card was damaged, but like, it happens. This card right here, I absolutely love, and I actually have it twice. Here is the ultimate rare version of it. This is the prismatic one. So in 2011, if you bought this, the Dungeon Dice version of the game in Japan, you got 3 cards. You got this card. I don't have the other one next to me. I got the one with her standing up, and then her going like this. And then each one came in a different rarity. So you had ultimate rares, you can see, which is pretty sick. And then this is the prismatic one. I actually was on a big journey to collect all of the Dark Magician girls that came out, like, including like these fancy ones. And I absolutely love this card, which is why it goes into my special case. You guys might recognize this is actually the art that they end up using for the actual TCG and OCG later. So well, technically this came out first in Japan in 2000. And then these Dungeon Dice promos came out in 2001, as you can see. But absolutely gorgeous art. Look at that. We also got the uncensored, you know, got the whole, the star and everything. And of course, you know, they got the cleavage that they are afraid to do in the TCG right now, which is hilarious. Card is sick. Now, you probably might recognize this. This is pretty cool. This I bought in Japan in person. I got a raw copy for like 70 bucks, I think I paid for it. No, actually it was less. It was like, I want to say it was 7,000 yen, which translates like 50 bucks in that neighborhood. And I remember I used to have a 9 of this, and I got rid of it, and then the price just became crazy. And I was like, I need to find a clean copy of this. So my journey last time I went to Japan was to find this, and not only was it a clean copy, but we got the 10 on that. This card's pretty sick. This is when Bandai had the IP on that still. All right, next we got Diabellstar. Again, this is one of my favorite cards of all time. This is a new card, modern. It goes in every one of my decks that I play. I cannot believe that came out in 2023. Wow, we are almost at 2 years old for this card. That's crazy. It's crazy. I absolutely love this card. It's so cool. Again, this is one of those cards that is not exactly valuable to people, but to me, the value is just like, again, it being my favorite card, period, right now, which is insane considering, you know, Dark Magician Girl exists, Blue Eyes exists. Love that card. So cool. I think last time I checked was like a pop 9, because again, no one's grading this. You're playing this instead, and you're not going to probably ever grade it. But hey, with me, I mean, look, I even got the alt art back here. I absolutely love everything about Diabellstar. All right, and then finally, before going to the next case, we have the Dragon Master Magia. This, in my opinion, is one of the coolest modern Yu-Gi-Oh cards because you're combining 2 of the coolest elements that we grew up with. You got the Dark Magician of Chaos riding on top of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And not just that, but this card is cool. This is insanely hard to pull. If you guys watch Ruxin's journey, I think it took him like 3,600 packs or something like that to pull this. It's nuts. It's also a very decent card if you play it. But I love this card. I got actually several copies of it. I pulled one myself, which graded an 8. And then I got one gifted to me. It's crazy. And then I got the one that hold up. I got one gifted. No, I pulled 2. That's what it was. I pulled 2. That's what it was. I pulled 2. Right? No. I'm trying to remember it. I pulled 1. I bought 1 raw, which is this one. This one was super clean. And then I got 1 gifted. That's what it was. And then, of course, I have to get one graded with ARS. I love this company. This is only a 9. But again, the slabs are just so sick. Which is the one that hangs out in the back of my set next to Dark Magician Girl Apprentice. But yeah, this card is iconic. I think this is by far the best modern Yu-Gi-Oh card you can collect. I think it's the only card, in my opinion, that's going to hold value over time because of what it represents. Number 1, you got the scarcity. 2, it's never going to reprint in that rarity again. I mean, you might get it in like Pharaoh Rare or something at some point, maybe in Ghost Rare, but like this is the first release in Quarter Century Rare, which are never going to be printed again. This is by far going to be the most graily of the grail modern Yu-Gi-Oh cards in a very, very long time. Which I'm probably saying this like, you know, in one ear out the other to a lot of people, but trust me, this card is massive. Massive. Even right now, after they reprinted it in lower rarities, it's still like an $800, $900 card raw. And that's played. To find minty ones could be even more. So if you don't pick this card up now, there's a possibility you might never be able to pick it up again. It's just like 10,000 Dragon, which to this day is still also like a $900 card raw. All right. Now we get some goodies. This is my the batch of Pokemon cards, I want to say. And this, again, this is what we call the B list, which is kind of crazy. It's like, you got a B list? I got a B list. All right. I also see a Yu-Gi-Oh card back here. And actually, this is a pretty sick one. You can see that it is a 10, 10, 10, 10, 9, 5. Boom. This is signed by Erica Schroeder, the English VA of Dark Magician Girl. And this is cool because not only is it a 10 on the grade, which B just never gives 10s to Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but also 10 on the autograph, which I still don't understand how they grade autographs. But a 10 and a 10, I think this might be a one of a kind for this kind of card. I have never seen a 10 and a 10 on BGS. I've seen PSA a couple, but like this is pretty rare. And I'll actually love this art too. This is one of my favorite arts for Dark Magician Girl. But yeah, pretty sick. On to the next one. It's another Yu-Gi-Oh card we have. The Pharaoh Rare Dark Magician Girl. Another card I think is very, very insane. This came out Magnificent Mavens in 2022. This is hard to pull. There was 25 Pharaoh Rares in a set. And to pull a Pharaoh Rare was like one per like case. So to get the one you're looking for, which they had Dark Magician Girl in this set, Blue Eyes, was not exactly easy. And I have a black label of this, which you'll see here in a second as well. But I absolutely love this rarity. I think this is one of the coolest rarities that Konami has done. It's a bit unique. That's not the standard like all over hollow or ghost rare and stuff like that, but this is sick. On to the next one. We got, I think the rest is all gonna be Pokemon from here on out. We got the Meganium. As you guys remember, I bought boxes from Z&G Emporium, and every hollow I got in one box ended up being a 10, including the Lugia. This is also one of those. Again, Gen 2 is my favorite. It's always gonna have a special place in my heart. Everything I pulled in that box is a 10, and I still have all those cards to this day. This is so goddamn cool. Ooh, it's so sick. What that value is, I don't know. Again, it's very tricky for cards that don't show up on the market as much, and it's a bit more unique because like not many people like Meganium, but like again, it's a special place for my heart. Y'all gonna like this one. We got the Koro Mew that I bought for $40 at Anime Expo in, look at that, 2 million third grade in 2017, I want to say. $40. And by the way, they had it listed for $50. I was like, can you go down a little bit? Because I didn't want to pay the $50 because I thought it was too much at the time. But the thing that plagued these cards is they were always severely off-center, which is why it's so hard to get 10s of this. The last time I checked, this is like a $5,000 card PSA 10, which is insane. But it's one of the most beautiful and unique cards I've seen. Look at the little swirl that he's got next to his foot back here. It's one of the more unique cards that I've seen in Pokemon because you got like an all over like little sparkly dust effect over it. And of course you got the shiny Mew just existing. This card is sick. I know, why is that in your B list? You'll see what's in the A list box. We got a PSA 8 first edition Chalice Charizard. I graded this myself. When I was buying these cards left and right raw back in 2017, 2018, I was paying like $1,500 a copy of these cards, which was pretty insane at the time as well. But every copy looked great. The thing that sucks about this one specifically is look at the centering top to bottom. That's the only thing that's keeping it from dying. Everything else in the back is great. Honestly, I might try to like see if we can get this bumped up to a 9, to be honest, because I think this is a great 9. It's just the only thing is the top to bottom centering is just bad. And for it to be 8 because of that, I just feel like it's kind of unfair. But fantastic card. Probably like 15 grand, I want to say, in that neighborhood. I don't really know. Ooh, one of the OG Moonbryons. Actually, I think this is the second Moonbryon, if I recall correctly. I never got the Neo Discovery one, the original with the moon behind them. I've always wanted to get one. I pulled the Espeon, which ended up being very, very clean, and it graded a 9 like 4 times. And I called bullshit on that because there's no print lines or anything, but they just kept giving it a 9. And for a while, I just figured, you know, PSA would just be on their bullshit where they're like, yeah, it's a 9, and they weren't going to give it anything higher than that. And I think I ended up actually selling that a couple years ago because I was like, oh, 9, because I used to have that mentality back in the day. Yeah, but this card is sick. I think this is fantastic. This is by far my favorite of the Moonbryon. So when people are like, you're not Moonbryon, I'm like, I have Moonbryon, just not the one you're thinking of. This one, gorgeous. Just look at it. Look at it. Next, we have... Ooh, Slowking. I pulled this myself as well. I didn't pull the Moonbryon. I bought it raw and it graded a 10. I had a great eye for cards back in the day. I still do. So every time I saw a card, I was like, I want it. I want it. I want it. This I pulled. It was, again, Neo Genesis was always plagued with the worst print lines. This one had no print lines. And when I got this is a Pop 2. This was the second one in the market in a long time. I think now it's like a Pop maybe 4, something like that. It's not first edition, so it's been considered less valuable, but it's more scarce, so it's more rare. It's weird. So honestly, because of how scarcity works, I would value this next to what the first edition honestly is, because like so little exists. And honestly, being like one or two people that has this, I think by itself is cool. But again, Slowking to me was dope because this is one of those Pokemon that I grew up with in Gen 1 that also in Gen 2 got another evolution, which I thought was like the coolest thing in the world. On top of that, Slowking was just amazing in the Pokemon 2000 movie as well. Again, a card I will never get rid of. Look at that swirl right there in the middle. Oh my god, so beautiful. I know. Why is this in your side slabs or your side collection? We got a PSA 10 Charizard. This is the first one I bought. I bought this actually from PokeRev a couple of years ago. And then I graded my own, which is why this goes in this second slab. And I know how people sometimes feel about the lower certs. They're not going to want them as much. But honestly, this card is pretty clean. And this one deserves, it absolutely does deserve the 10 that it got. It's funny, like a lot of times it's like, don't just buy the grade, you know, buy the card, and people will see a 10, but it's like the card is beat up. It's like, no, look at the card. This one absolutely looks clean. But because it is a 2 million cert, it's going to have less desire than like the higher ones that came out later. Ooh, I bought this for $700 back in, let's see, 4 million cert. I want to say 2019. And I remember I bought this for $700 because it was listed as a buy now on eBay. And then I shit you not, like 2 days later, the other one that was listed also was listed for $750. This was almost $700, so I bought this one. The $750 one that the other seller had immediately changed the price to $1,200. Like a day later. This card is sick. I love like the all over hollow patterns on the border with these. I tried to get the promo one, but the problem with the promo ones is it's like pop like 10 or something like that. That's because they had these like clamps that held the card down. So when you pulled the card out, it was already damaged. It just being in the box damaged the card. So I don't believe any of those 10s exist. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't, because every one of those was like super clamped down in the packaging. But the booster box version from Supreme Victors, absolutely sick. Insane. Love this card. And then, wait, this one everyone's gonna be excited about. We got, the Feraligatr, my favorite starter from Second Gen, Neo Genesis. Again, I pulled this myself from that same box where everything graded to 10. The thing about Neo Genesis, if you get a box where one hollow is clean, there's a good chance that the rest of them are gonna be clean as well because they had good printing with that. If one has a print line, there's a good chance that every hollow in the box has a print line. When I say me and Z&G Emporium were absolutely chosen with that box, we were chosen. Everything. There's only one card I pulled in that entire like box. I bought like 19 packs at the time, which I think was like $60, $70 a pack, which is insane to think about how much those are today. And I thought that was expensive back then. But every card I pulled in that pack, except for the Steel Energy, graded a 10. The Steel Energy just refused. It was 9999. And to this day, I have not figured out what is on that card that made him go, nah, that's a 9. Because I didn't see any print lines. I didn't see any like corner damages, any dings, nothing. And I regraded like 6 times and it just wouldn't do it. Which is fine because, you know, Steel Energy. But everything else, the cards that mattered, ooh, absolutely sick. All right, now we got, drum rolls, fireworks. I bought this card raw. I want to say I paid $400 back in 2.8 million cert, 2017, 2019. And honestly, I never liked the fireworks cards, but like, I saw it pop up on Troll and Toad, and I was like, I'm just gonna buy it. Let's just see what happens, you know? And then it was clean. This is one of the cleanest copies you'll see. Again, the thing about this is you'll see 2 million cert and like it'll turn people off. But this, when you see this in person, it's nuts. The card is actually super, super clean. Definitely deserves the 10 that it got. Again, it's not my favorites, just because I don't really like the firework design on it. But again, there was a moment where I was buying every Charizard, and this just happened to be one I obtained at the time. Okay, now ready for the goods. The real goods. The star of the show. All right, we're gonna break this down into 2 because there's BGS slabs in here. And then there's also Pokemon or PSA slabs. Let's do BGS first, just because we're gonna get a little bit more unique and niche. I'll explain everything. Woo! Okay, so starting off with this. The Dark Magician from Mama. The Dark Magician from Mama girl. Black Label BGS 10. This is currently a Pop 2 at the moment. You know, out of all the ones that existed, only 3 ever graded a 10. And of those 3, 2 got bumped up to Black Labels. We're probably never going to see a BGS 10 of this ever again. Because again, scarcity factor, and 2, just printing qualities. So the 3 that exist, and now the 2 that were bumped up to Black Label, I would say it's pretty nice. Like, this is by far one of the coolest modern cards that ever came out in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I know my homie who has the other one has gotten an offer for like 10 grand for the card that he was gonna sell, and then like it just didn't go through or something. I don't remember. But honestly, I'm never getting rid of this. I think this card is gas. It's just insanely beautiful. Right? We got, oh, the full art Dark Magician Girl that I pulled, last year. This is the only BGS 10 of it that exists. And again, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels, they have full art cards. And something that we got robbed at in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like, can we get the full arts? Imagine that. Insane. But this is so beautiful. This is like one of the coolest Dark Magician Girls you can actually own. Whether it's a PSA 10, BGS 10, or just raw, just a fire card. Weiss Schwarz. We got the Ryoku from Kill la Kill. I have actually both this and the trial deck version. Big fan of Kill la Kill. Card was hard to obtain as well. What's funny about this is I bought the PSA 10 versions of both cards, and then I'm not even joking, like 4 days later, my friend goes, I got BGS 10s of them. I'm like, I want them. I'll just sell the PSA 10s. I never sold the PSA 10s. I still have them. But I was like, I want that in the BGS 10. Ooh. Here's a full art one. Remember I told you got the Dungeon Dice Dark Magician Girl? This one I hunted down in person. When I went to Japan, my goal was always to find the cleanest copies of this, and it always had issues with like the edging because they were just super awful print quality. And I remember one day I walk in, I'm like, this one is clean. And I bought just this one, and I walked out. And as I'm walking out, a guy pops in and immediately goes to the shelf and goes, I want that entire shelf. It's like he knew it was there. It's like he had probably seen it the day before and came back to buy it the next day. And he bought the rest of the shelf. The rest of the shelf was okay. I would say they're probably like PSA 9 and 8 qualities, but this is the only 10 there. And I feel like, again, that guy probably saw that the day before and came back to buy it, and he missed out. Because this one graded a 10, which at the time, currently, was like a pop 2. There was 3 10s, and then one finally did get bumped up to a Black Label. But the problem with it is they always knock you in center, which is something I don't like about BGS, because there is no centering on this. So it's like, where is the centering? Give me my Black Label, Beckett. Anyways, I want to try to bump stuff to Black Label at some point. I've tried like 3 times, and each time they're like, nah. It's Beckett. It's just how they work. Next, we got the Toru from Kobayashi Dragon Maids. Funny story about this. For a while, as you can see, this is more of a lewd card from Weiss Schwarz. They wouldn't grade this. Beckett was like, we won't grade this. So they put a halt on all of this. So I had to go to the head grader and be like, guys, this is not like hentai or anything. It's Kobayashi Dragon Maids. It's actually a wholesome anime. What are we doing? Obviously, she's sitting on the side of a pool with her tits out, but like, bro, like, can we like grow up for a bit? And then they immediately were like, all right, grade them all. But I noticed every card that graded was a 9.5, and I'm like, what is happening? It wasn't a single 10. I'll show you what happens. You see that little hollow pattern right there? They thought that was damaged, but it's actually like a weird hollow texture that every card had. And once they realized it wasn't damaged, they were like, oh my god, fix it. So when I regraded my 9.5, I just resent the slab in. It bumped straight to a Black Label because I realized it wasn't damaged. Because originally it was like a 10, 10, 10, and like a 9 that they gave it. So it was a 9.5. But yeah, got a Black Label of this. I also got a 10 of this as well, but this card is pretty sick. All right, next one. We got Rarest from High School D&D. And this is actually one of my first Weiss Schwarz cards that I obtained a couple years ago. So here's the story. Alex, this is Alex's fault. Alex Hodges, Alex Ketchum, messages me and goes, hey, do you want this Rarest card? And I was like, nah, I don't want it. I was like, how much is it? He was like $1,000 raw. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. But because I had said no originally, it was sold within minutes. And because I missed out on it, it's like I got instant FOMO, and I'm like, I want this card now because this card is sick. This is like one of the earlier grails of Weiss Schwarz. I'm like, I want this card. And because I missed out, I wanted it more. So I immediately just bought I almost said Black Label, a 10. And I paid like $2 grand for this. As of today, it still holds value. It's like a $2,000-$3,000 card. Super low pop. Because again, the thing about Weiss Schwarz that has me like so excited about this card game is everything is crazy low pop. So it's like once you obtain something, there's a good chance that like you'll never be able to get it again. Or if you don't obtain it, you'll never be able to get it again because everybody that has that card already owns it and they're not giving it up. Some obviously will move easier than others, but I feel like this is one of those cards that's not exactly easy to get in English. So yeah. All right. Next, we got the Dark Magician Girl from World Championship attendance. It's actually, I was invited to this. Was this the one that I went to? No, this is the one that I missed out on, I think. This is like, yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah. I was gifted it from that same event, and then it became a 10. I think this is the only 10 that exists too. Because again, Beckett is just way stricter with Yu-Gi-Oh cards for some reason. I don't know why. If this is the card that I think it is, it's not. It is this is the one that I actually was gifted from Bushy Road when they sent me the early box. They sent me the box and the 2 cards to show off. And I actually pulled the Japanese version of this the year before. I love the art of this. Mai Sakurajima, one of my favorite characters. The card is sick. Wait, yeah, no, this is the one I pulled. Just kidding. It's the Japanese one. I just realized. This is the one that I pulled. And to pull these was like 1 per like 6 cases or something ridiculous. And I ended up pulling this. It's like a $2,000 card raw. Hype to have that. Speaking of Mai, this is when they had signatures still on Rascal cards. This is a secret rare. I actually won this at a auction for very, very cheap. And when I say very, very cheap, I spent $3,000 for the PSA 10. I'm not even joking. And that's considered cheap because at the time, it was like a $6,000 card. And I think right now, if you try to obtain this, it's like a $6,000 card as a 10. So no one's going to sell this. It's just one of those cards that's really, really hard to find. And it's super crazy low pop. But it's never popped up in auction. But for some reason, it popped up in auction and it went under the radar. It was like one of those ones where they listed like 1,000 cards. And I was like, why is no one bidding on this? So I bid on it and I kept an eye on it and I won it. I was so excited. Aight. The next one, we got another Mai Sakurajima. Again, big fan of the series. Love this anime. If you've never checked it out, I highly recommend it. Story with this is I bought this from a seller overseas and I was nervous because I'm like, is this even gonna get here? Because like when I bought, I had bought a card previously from the same person that came and was kind of beat up. And I was like, damn, like that same card I bought graded like a 9. That's how bad it was. So I was disappointed. I was like, yeah, whenever this arrives, which I paid $600 raw, I'm just cooked. But it went straight to Black Label. It didn't even, it skipped the 10. It went straight to Black Label. It was so clean. As you can see, remember I said while they had signatures, they lost their license in a set afterwards, which was this one. And they could no longer do signatures of the VAs. They could only do like stamps. So the art is sick. It's fire, in my opinion. One of the best arts for Mai. But no signature does kind of like take away from it. But I still like the card. It's pretty fire. Next, we got the Grail of the Grails. This recently sold for $32,000 as the BGS 10. And the Black Label version of this, I'm not even joking, sold for $78,000 cash last year that I actually helped facilitate. It's crazy. A guy messaged me looking for it. I'm like, I'll be honest with you, I don't think you're going to find this card because this is like a pop 10 in BGS 10. I think it's also like a pop 9 in Black Label. And for PSA, it's like a pop like 14, so it's super low. The reason why this card is so sought after, again, Mai Sakurajima, very popular character. They had printed this card by accident. So they have the trial decks, which are like starter decks, and then they have the booster boxes. If you bought the trial decks, you had a 1 in 40 box chance to get this as like a little secret rare that came out at the very end of the pack, right? But they actually put this in the booster box as well instead of her sister. And her sister was very, very playable at the time. So what Bushy Road did is they were like, anybody that pulled this, send that in, and we'll send you a booster box as an apology and the correct card. So what happened is this was like a $40 card, you know, $30 card at the time, and her sister was like a $400 card. So what everybody did is no-brainer. They sent this in. They sent this amazing art in, including the people that got it out of trial decks. And Bushy Road destroyed every copy of the card, and then they lost their license as well, so they could no longer do signatures on Rascal cards. So as of today, there's like less than 50 of these, period, in the world, which is why it's so sought after and valuable. So yeah, the $77,000 Black Label or $78,000 Black Label was a real thing that I literally witnessed in cash. Normally, people would do like a $50,000 slab and like $30,000 trade on top, but this is literally $77,000 cash or $78,000 cash for the card, period. By far one of the most expensive transactions we've seen, cash only for Weiss Schwarz. But yeah, I traded a Neo Destiny booster box for this 2 years ago, and I don't regret it. This card is so sick. So sick. Next, we got this is the actual the English version of the Mai. As I mentioned, they no longer can do signature, so this one only has a stamp. But this is the one that was gifted to me at Bushy Road when they sent me the early box for the set when they released it. And they sent me this and then the other Mai's all to show off on video, and then I got to keep them. But what's crazy is this copy was so clean that it immediately black labeled. This card is so cool. I love Winter Mai. I absolutely love Winter Mai. Next we got Albedo. I love Overlord. Albedo is one of the coolest characters I've ever seen. And we got the Sobin Volume 2 Albedo that Alex Ketchum still doesn't have. Alex, bro, come on, catch up. Literally, catch up. Love this art. We got the Sobin, which is the illustrator, I believe, of the card itself. This is the signature, technically. It's not a stamp. And, again, pretty fire. Got the black label. I actually got a BGS 10. The way I obtained this one is mine graded a 10, gold 10. And then I traded the gold 10 plus $1,000 for the black label. And honestly, I think that was a great deal because super low pop. Insanely low pop. Next one, we got, oh yeah, here's the other Ryoko. This is the one from the trial deck. Again, love that art. Goes back with the other Ryoko from earlier. We got the Makima that I could not pull myself, but I did end up buying the card raw. I think I paid like $1,000 raw because Weiss cards are so hard to find, number one, and two, if you find them, they're so expensive raw at launch. But they hold their value because, again, like there's so many people that want the card itself, but so little printed. So like that's why they're so like sought after. And again, Makima is just a fire character. And then the only One Piece card I own, the one that Alex missed out on, we got the Gear 5 Luffy. The story with this is me and Alex were trying to buy this card, and Alex got an offer for like $1,700 for this, and he was like, I don't want it. I can probably get it cheaper. And I was like, well, if you don't want it, can I have it? And he was like, yeah. Look at that. We got the 10 on that. This is one of the coolest collectible cards I've ever seen. You got the manga panels going through every single gear that Luffy has gone through with his most iconic form too, Gear 5 in the middle. Straight from the manga. I love how they design these cards. They're hard to pull, they're textured, and then of course the iconic history behind it. This is by far the coolest One Piece card ever released, hands down. I think the value still in that is insane. It's like a $5,000-$6,000 card in BGS 10, and then PSA 10 is like a $4,000 or $5,000 card. And it's crazy to me that this has still held its value. I believe it's like a Pop 100 as well, which for One Piece, it's considered still low with how popular One Piece is. But like again, this card is just amazing. All right, now the anime stuff. Y'all ready for the Grail of the Grails? Because we got some Grails for you. First put these up so it doesn't get in the way. I don't want to, you know, potentially knock stuff over like I'm already doing. But these cards right here are the ones that are going to make you turn your head and be like, why do you have this? And I'm going to tell you right now, I got a story for every single one of them. So at least I can explain the sentimental value as well. Here we go. Right now, you're not going to see a single Moonbreon in here. Here we go. First one. We got 4 million cert. Ooh, we got the Gold Star Rayquaza. I bought this raw for $700 a couple years ago. 4 million cert. And this is the only time I ever got my hands on this card. I have never seen this card pop up raw ever at that moment. And Pokemon wasn't as crazy, anywhere as crazy back then as it is today, obviously. But even then, like, finding this card was just rough. And it was good enough to be a 9. Can it be a 10? I don't know. Probably not, because it does have, like, that, and that's pretty much it. But everything else on this card is just beautiful. Even a 9 has been insane. I mean, Gold Star 9 is like, what, $15,000 or something like that? The Grail of the Grails. Next we got, ooh, there's my pride and joy. I pulled this in 2019, 2017, 2018, something like that. Even in that video I said, wow, this is like $1,000 PSA 10, because for a while there's a PSA 10 listed for $1,000 that nobody wanted. This in its height sold for $129,000 in 2020. I think the true value is more around the $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 range, which is what we've seen more often. We've seen that really, really bad one sell for like $38,000, which was like a glorified PSA 8. It was super damaged off center and everything. But this is by far, in my opinion, not to be biased, the most perfect copy you will ever see of Lugia. Not a single print line on there, great centering, no whitening. I honestly think if I send this to Beckett, they would BGS 10 it. I'm just scared. I'm scared to ever ship this. If I ever can go to Beckett in person and take it with me, I will. But like, man, and Beckett right now, I believe it's a BGS 10 is like a Pop 3, and that's like a $150,000 card. Because again, with how harsh Beckett is and how awful the print quality was in this. But again, I will go to the grave with this card. Absolutely. You know what this card needs? It's Twin Typhlosion. Also another card I pulled, which today is still Pop 4. This is the 4th 10 ever made in Unlimited. And as of today, there's still only 4 10s. Again, quality control, it was awful in Neo Genesis. And I remember when I pulled this, my brain was so locked in and trying to get an Unlimited Lugia, I forgot that Typhlosion was even a thing. And I pulled it and I was like, This is perfect. This is literally in perfect condition. Like, what is happening? But yeah, beautiful card. Look at it. The GOAT. This is the one that started a lot of like a huge Pokemon Gold rush back in the 2018 days when it was TCA Gaming, I believe, who bought a first edition PSA 10 for $10,000, and people at the time were like, $10,000 for a card that's not Charizard? What's happening? Next, we got the Aquapolis Lugia, $700 raw. I bought this from Troll and Toad. Bro, I tell you, I was like a little rat, just like scouring through Troll and Toad whenever they had restocks. I had like notifications for everything. And this popped up one day, I immediately bought it. Paid $700 cash, which at the time I thought was very, very expensive. Worth the transaction. I think it's like a 20,000 plus card as of recent sales. One of the coolest Lugias by far. Like, look at it. Woo! Like I said, this is gonna be some bangers. Next we got, oh yeah, here's one that I pulled. I pulled this from a pack I believe I bought from TCA Gaming. I think this might have been my 50K special or something on this channel. I forgot which. I just remember I did some kind of opening, pulled this, and this is the one that became a 10. And then it being also 4 million cert made me, again, I like the later certs as well, so I get it. But this was so clean. This was so clean. This is like the holy grail of everyone's childhood. Love that card. Next, we got, ooh, this card is so gorgeous. I was the biggest hater of this card until I got it in person. I realized, oh, it's holographic all over. What a beautiful shine. I bought this raw from Troll and Toad for like $1,200. I want to say $1,200, $1,500, which again at the time was insanely expensive. No one was doing that for raw cards like that. But when I saw how clean it was, because I had them send me the scans, I'm like, yeah, I want it. Immediately it was a 10. It didn't even like, I didn't have to fight for it. PSA looked at that, they were like, yeah, that's a 10. That's 1,000% a 10. I want to say that's like a $25,000 card as well, 25, 30. You know what? You know what's an expensive card? This one right here. Here's the grail that a lot of people won. Recently sold for $40,000 as a PSA 10. So I used to like buy these raw, and I had 4 copies of PSA 9. They all just kept 9, 9, 9. So I was like, well, if I have 4 copies, I won this from PWCC on eBay for $4,000 at the time. I was like, yeah, I'll just buy the 10 and I'll sell the 9s. So I sold the 9s. Unfortunately, those 9s are very expensive today. I mean, I guess, you know, the W part was I got this afterwards. Well, I bought this first and then I sold the 9s later to make up for it. But yeah, I wish I kept those 9s now. I do have one more, which is a bit more special. I've never showed you this, I don't think, but I actually got it signed by the artist himself. Leonhard did a event a couple years ago, and he was like, "You want any cards signed by the artist?" The artist never liked those signings. I'm like, "Yes!" So I cracked out one of those 9s and sent him that, and I also sent him my Registeel. So I got that signed. This is like hanging up on the wall, which is pretty sick. And I love that it's personalized too. And a lot of people are like, "I don't like personalized signatures," but it's for you, bro. This is for me. This is sick. Again, never getting rid of it. All right, we're almost done. This is a long recording. This is why I only do like my favorites. We got the DDS Blue Eyes White Dragon. In my opinion, the best version of this card. I know a lot of people will say LOB Blue Eyes. That's wrong. It's just factually incorrect because we got the prismatic background, the starter deck Kaiba art. This is the art that we grew up with. Nobody cared about the LOB Blue Eyes. This is by far the coolest card that I own in Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, next to one more, which I'll show you. But yeah, this right here, I don't even know where to start. I think in its height, it sold for like 25,000 plus. This is a couple years ago, but like with Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not as popular right now, so it does this. If I try to sell it today, it will probably be like 15, maybe 20, maybe 20K if you get lucky. If Yu-Gi-Oh! Gets popular again, like how it was a couple years ago, I could see this selling for like 30 plus easily because of how scarce it was, number one. Because this came from Dark Duel Stories, the first print, and a lot of people just put that card in their pocket. That and it was because it was like it wasn't. You could just get it by just getting the game, so people didn't really care. But now it's like it's considered one of the grails for Blue Eyes White Dragon. So the people that kept theirs in good condition, they won. They won. Here is a this is my in PSA 10. I bought this for $16,000 cash a couple years ago. And what's funny is in order to get it, I was like, well, let me just get rid of this box. So I actually got rid of a Neo Genesis Japanese box. I think at the time I sold for like $15,000. But the one that hurts me is I didn't have to do this. I just did it because I was like, yeah, you know, this would be even trade if I do this. I sold my 2 Mario boxes. I had both Mario boxes that I bought for $60 each at launch that I kept up until that day. And I was like, yeah, you know, how much can we get for this? $4,000? Sure, why not? I don't plan on opening them. I was scared to open them because I'm like, chances of them being damaged, maybe. You never know. Which I'm sure was fine. I'm sure they were going to be easy 10s right out the box. But I didn't care for Mario cards at the time because the pop was crazy. And in my mind, I'm like, no one's going to want to go crazy for these cards, ever. Because so many 10s exist. Boy, was I wrong. Because apparently in Pokemon, nobody cares about the population of a card. If it says pop 10,000 and it's a 10, they do not care. That was a fumble because not a card by itself. One Mario card will sell for like $8,000, $7,000 as a PSA 10. So, unfortunate fumble. But hey, I was happy because I obtained one of my grails at the time, which was this. And then, ironically, I upgraded it later to a BGS 10. So, I have 2 copies of this. There she is. This card was expensive. I bought this for $9,000 at PSA 10. It's one of my more expensive Yu-Gi-Oh cards I purchased. But I've been trying to get this card for years. And for years, it was listed between $15,000 to $20,000. And when the Yu-Gi-Oh hype kind of died down, it was a perfect opportunity. I saw this list, and I was like, I need this. How much? $9,000? Deal. Done. Let's do it. My issue with these cards is a lot of times PSA unfortunately does grade these wrong. They have given a lot of 10s to these cards, but they were never in good condition. What I don't like about Dark Magician Girl is the name is so like fragile that a lot of times the name is scratched out, and somehow there's 10s that exist because I guess PSA doesn't pay attention to that. I'm like, this card should not exist as a 10 and have like scratches in the name, but this one has a fantastic print of the name. Of course, obviously the card itself, and we got the hollow bleed as well. Absolute gorgeous card. I think this is the epitome of modern, wow, not modern, of Yu-Gi-Oh in collectibles by far. It's like this and the DDS Blue Eyes are by far the biggest chases you can have, and I got this. So happy I bought that. All right, the next one we got is started at Kaiba Blue Eyes. Again, when I was buying this left and right, it's gonna be a crazy story. This recently sold for $10,000 as a PSA 10. I had graded a handful of these as 10s, and again, because the Pokemon was pretty cool at the time, but Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't, nobody really cared. So I was buying these first edition cards for like $30 each from Troll and Toad, and I graded a couple 10s and a couple 9s, and I handed them out to my friends. Wish I kept all of those now. Because I know my homies did not care about these cards like that, and they probably have no idea that they're just sitting on bank that they put in like a drawer somewhere or something. It's crazy. But I kept one. I kept one for myself, obviously. As you can see, I've been in the grading game for a long time. And this card, this is the epitome of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Not the LOB broken neck looking card. This is the card that in the DDS by far is the coolest ones you can get. Next we got, the Plasma Storm Charizard. This card always had crazy printing issues. The printing or centering from top to bottom was always awful. Like it was literally centered 90 to 10 on most cards that I've ever seen. But I got one that finally was centered pretty well. Back was clean, and we got the 10. I don't know what the true value of this card is. Also, its texture, look at that. Fire. I don't know what the true value of this card is. When I was at a card show last weekend, I saw it listed for like $30,000, which I don't agree with. I don't think it's anywhere near that. I would say maybe it's in the $15,000, $20,000 range, but it's incredibly low pop. And again, I think this is one of those Charizards that people don't talk about as much, but look how cool he is. Shiny Charizard with the textured, super low pop, hard to get. This is a cool card. Next, we got the Blaine's Charizard. Fun fact, I actually had this sitting in my back row for a long time. And I finally sent it into PSA one day, and I'm like, yeah, let's see what the grade is. I did not expect this to gem in 10. I always thought there was going to be some kind of printing issue or something where they would be like, nah, it's like an 8, which is why I kept it in my back. It's crazy. And then, yeah, got the 10. Remember, this wasn't anywhere nearly as popular as the OG base that Charizard was, but having this or the Dark Charizard was really cool back in the day. Speaking of which, Dark Charizard. I bought this for $1,200 from TCA Gaming. I think recently it sold for like $8,500 as a PSA 10. But I bought this from TCA Gaming for $1,200. And I remember at the time thinking, I'm like, damn, that's so much money for a single card, Ryan. Like, what are you doing? Again, love this card. I always thought this card was underrated because Charizard looks so goddamn cool. And then like how the hollow pattern is, it's like a thunderstorm. Like, look at that. Ooh! Tell me that's not sick. This is one of the most underrated Charizards by far. By far one of my favorite. And finally, the last card, as you can see, we got a old cert. We got the 9. I bought this from PokeRev a couple years ago, for actually a very, very good price. Yo, shout out to PokeRev. Yeah, no, PokeRev was my original like supplier. I remember he was my dealer. I was texting and be like, yo, I need another hit, bro. I need another hit. I would buy all my packs, my vintage packs, and like raw cards from him. I remember at the time I was trying to buy this. I was like, it's so expensive, but I'll do it. I'll buy it 9. Obviously couldn't afford a 10. Still can't afford a 10 today. I mean, I could probably trade for it, but you know, I would have to give a lot of stuff that I don't want to do. But I absolutely love this card. This card was so legendary back in the day. Hearing mythological myths. Hearing myths about, you know, the first edition Charizard that exists out there that at the time was worth $300. I remember the basic Charizard was a $35 card. The first edition was $300, and we thought that was insane. I mean, even $35 was insane when we were kids. But this was by far one of my biggest goals to obtain when I came back to Pokemon in 2017. And I can't believe that I don't just own this once, but like 4 times. I have a PSA 7, an 8, the 9, and I also have a BGS 8.5 that I traded for a base set booster box a couple years ago. Which I don't regret either, because again, that card is just, it's so iconic. One day I'll own a 10. Not today yet. All right, that is it. That is my my cool stuff, my cool stash. So let me know what your favorite card is of the video. Let me know what your favorite collectible is that you have as well. And maybe one day I'll actually go through my other slabs. Like I said, I have a lot. It will be a long video like this, but hey, if y'all enjoyed this, maybe I'll do it. That's it. I hope you enjoyed. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next upload.